The minute I heard I was going to be a father, I was a father. And so that means I need to be there for doctor's visits. I needed to be there for, the nights where she had cravings. I needed to be there for all of it. You know what I mean? I wanted to experience the whole thing. And I didn't want it to be a situation where I was, helping someone else reach their dreams and I was missing out on mine.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the From Boys to Men show, brought to you by the Squire Program. I'm your host, Layden Cook. I got a really special guest with me, guys. You actually might even recognize him, especially if you are watching this kind of content on Instagram, YouTube, etc. You might have even seen some of his clips on his Instagram. And it's for Fit Fatherhood, excuse me. I have the founder of it, Rod Richard, here with me right now today. I'm excited to host him and have him on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I can't complain.
Good. So first of all, I should have asked you before, but that freaking hoodie is dope, man. Where'd you get that hoodie at? I gotta ask you.
I don't even know. I went to somebody on one of those like Fiverr or something and gave them an idea for what I wanted, and they
made it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, dope. Well, shout out. I don't know if it was like a merch we could plug in. I was like, dude, hit his website up. But anyway,
now that you said something, this is a one of one, but it could be a one of a few you need to.
I'm saying. So I figured they're gonna see it and be like, I need that hoodie, man. So, anyways, I'm happy to have you on the show, man. I wanted to ask you the first question I had for you was, kind of what your upbringing was like, with your parents. So a little bit about that. And then does any of that, was any of that motivation for starting your Instagram page and starting to talk about this conversation of being a better father?
Yeah, for sure. So I was born in Oakland, raised in Richmond, California.
Nice.
My mother and father, I'm their only child. They had 4 or 5 miscarriages before they had me, so they consider me their miracle child, right? My mom to this day will still say that I'm a miracle baby. My mother and father were together till I was about 4.5 or 5, and they got divorced. My dad had some things going on. He was struggling with drug addiction at the time, and so they split up. And that part, but there's more to it, but that part definitely has a lot to do with how important fatherhood is to me. My mom remarried. So my stepdad was there from the time I was 6 until I was 18, but he was a workaholic, right? Well, my mom couldn't work because she got injured on the job, so he had to work, right? So I don't fault him for that, but he was never home, right? He was always at work, and when he was home, he was eating or sleeping.
Right.
So I didn't really have a real relationship with him. Outside of learning that I need to go to work, right? Making sure I didn't get in trouble so he didn't have to discipline me because he was already too tired for it. And so if he had to discipline me, it was going to be like serious. But I didn't have in my house, like the house that I slept in every night, a father presence that I wanted. And so for me, when I became a father, it was like, I have to be that presence, right? My dad eventually got himself together, came back into my life, but custody means he only gets me every other weekend or 1 week or 2 in the summer and, some holidays and things like that. But it wasn't a consistent presence that I was looking for, that I wanted. So when I got the opportunity to be a father, it was like, I'm all in, I'm gonna be there no matter what. Like I'm doing everything I can to be present.
For sure. Let me ask you, is your father still here with us today?
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys have a relationship?
Yeah. No, we're really good. Okay. Even so, I somebody asked me this before, and I never resented him for being gone.
Sure.
I just knew that he was gone, and in all honesty, I felt sorry for him when I found out why he was gone. Because we went to go visit him. He was at a rehab facility in San Francisco. We went to go visit him, and it was like, yo, that's my dad. Like,
he's crazy, right?
He didn't look good. You know, he typically had a goatee, had no facial hair. He was thin. I was like, yo, this is not good.
It's crazy to see your people like that.
Yeah, man. So I felt bad for him. I'm like 6, but I was like, yo, I hope you get it together. And he did, and he's great. Good. He's great now.
Good. That's good, man. Yeah, it's really hard to see people like that. And one thing you touched on, where you said, because maybe, I don't know how it was for you, but I remember having a bunch of anger for my dad not being there. And then when I went through the different stages, then I got to the point where I was like, when I became an adult and I could understand now, me being my own, I'm a father now, I was like, I never thought I would understand what he was going through. I was like, dang, I can't say I would have taken the same route, but I understand the peer pressure as a mother, and you want to be the quote unquote the man of the house, and so you're willing to do anything to do that. You obviously didn't make the right decision, but like I kind of understand where you were at mentally in that situation. So. And previously, I never thought I would understand that at all. I was just so mad at him making that decision. Like, dude, you're dumb. Like, why would you do that? Whatever. So when you said that right now, you're like, man, you got that stage that really way earlier than me for sure. I was like, man, hell no. At 6, I was like, nah, I was right on in the beginning of it. So, okay, cool. So you guys have a better relationship now. You guys are in communication and everything. So that's awesome. So what was the motivation for you to want to, kind of have the conversation or start posting social media clips and content about this?
So I guess I go back to like the origin story of it all, right? And so 2011, we find out that we're going to be having our first daughter. And when my wife told me you're going to be a father, it was like that kind of like Matrix moment, right? Like everything just slowed down, right? Like time stood still. I could have grabbed a bullet out of the air. Like, you know what I mean? I was like hanging on that last word. And immediately in that moment, I felt like I had discovered my purpose. Like all the things that I've been doing, all the work stuff that I've been doing up to that point, and it was going good, felt meaningless in that moment. And I knew that I needed to make sure, like I said, that I was going to be there, right? So I actually quit my job when I found out I was going to be a father, and because I was working with the New York Mets. So I was living in California, but also living in Florida and then traveling with the team. So I wasn't really at home, which I kind of got from both my dads actually, just working to provide. And so I wasn't like present. But I couldn't imagine not being there for the birth of my child. I couldn't imagine at the time it was Skype. I couldn't imagine getting a Skype call.
That's well, okay. Because I was thinking I was going to ask you. I knew you were going to go deeper on the details, but I was like, that's backwards. Like when you found out you're going to have a baby, you quit your job. You know what I'm saying? Most people are like, dude, I'm not making enough money. Like I need to get another job, a third job, fourth job, whatever. Okay, that makes sense. So you were just gone all the time, and that's why you're like, I got to get something where
something where I could be home.
Okay,
because like I said, I wanted to be present for all of it. Right? It's like the minute I heard I was going to be a father, I was a father. And so that means I need to be there for doctor's visits. I needed to be there for the nights where she had cravings. I needed to be there for all of it. You know what I mean? I want to experience the whole thing, and I didn't want it to be a situation where I was helping someone else reach their dreams and I was missing out on mine.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I'm about to clip that. That's gonna be a reel for sure. I'm gonna say it right now, I'm clipping it, we're stamping it right now. That was awesome, man. So okay, I understand why you started the page now. I understand the mindset going into it, learning a little bit more about your upbringing with your kids. Makes complete and total sense. What are some things that you struggled with when you first became a dad that now you look back and like, oh, that wasn't even that bad, but you kind of had to go through that process of messing up? Because if any dads that are watching this right now, we've all been in that stage. Some of us are still in the stage where you just, because they're growing, like the infant stage lasts a little bit, then toddler, then kid, then teenager, and so you're always learning. But what were some things that you used to struggle with when you first became a father? What was the hardest for you think?
The hardest thing for me was being selfish. I mean, when you're young and you're in a relationship, me and my wife have been together for a long time, but so it was just us two, right? And so you get to do kind of what you want to do, right? I want to go do whatever. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go play basketball with the boys, right? No problem. All right, cool. Sure. I'll see you when you get back. Right? Yeah. Oh, I'm going to happy hour. Like we just pick up and go and do whatever you want to do. Then you got kids, and I'm like, all right, I'm finna go play basketball with you. You're finna what?
Yeah, for real.
What do you mean? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go hoop. And it's like, no, it's not gonna happen. And that part was the struggle for me. Was like, at that time, I felt like it was sacrifice, right? Like I was giving up parts of myself for this kid, which I wanted to. Like I wanted to be present and I wanted to be available.
Sure.
But I felt like I wanted to do it on my own terms, if that makes sense.
100%.
And not only did I have a kid that was dictating terms to me, but then my wife, who's now the mother of my children, is like, you got to do this and do that. And I was like, yo, it's not what I signed up for. I was just going to be cool dad. Like, I got to actually do all this stuff. Yeah. So that was a struggle for me early, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. It's like, because you, male and female, I think struggle with that in the beginning, where they're used to just being able to go wherever they want, do what they want, buy what they want. They never had that responsibility prior to worry about diapers and milk and whatever. But then you're in a situation where it's like you can't make those. I can't just go to the skate park if I want to. I can't just go to the gym or whatever. I got to make sure that the baby, like literally when I put her down in the crib, I got to set her down so gently so she doesn't wake back up. And then if she's sleeping, then I can sneak out. Babe, can I just sneak out for a little bit? Like it's like you got to like plan it out. It's just it's different, right? So that's tough. But I think for both. But I think it's I don't want to say tougher for men, but we're just so used to want to be the leader, want to be the one who can do what we need to do and move as we please. And then that's changed after that. And like you said, it's a sacrifice, a good sacrifice, but a sacrifice nonetheless. And it's something that you got to learn and adjust to. So I think that's an interesting topic to kind of delve into more, growing with your kids through the different stages, because the diaper stage and baby formula stage isn't going to last forever. Right. And they turn into toddlers. And so they're still really little, but they have a little bit of attitude. You got to deal with them a little bit differently. They're learning their own personality and kind of how to assert themselves and things like that. Then they turn into kids. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. So what do you see? Because I'm sure you get a lot of people behind the scenes maybe DMing you and maybe asking for advice and things like that, because your page has become like the hub for like, all content surrounded by being a better dad, right? So I'm sure you get a lot of comments and DMs behind the scenes asking for advice. What are some things that you see the dads are doing nowadays that maybe they can do better in when it comes to growing along with their kids instead of being separate from them?
Yeah, I think, well, I'll go back because I called it a sacrifice and you said a good sacrifice. But I think one of the things that I did and that I tell guys to do is you have to kind of shift your mindset on it. Because as long as you think it's a sacrifice, that means you're giving up something to get it, right? I think of it now more of as an investment, right? Because I'm putting in the time and the energy and the effort, because the return on investment later on is that I have a healthier, smarter, physically, like whatever the kickback is later on, I'm investing my time and energy and effort. I'm not giving it up. I think that is a big part of allowing yourself to grow with your child, because like you said, the diaper time, that first couple of months, you're semi-useless as a dad. You know what I mean? Like you're the water boy, right? Like, go get me a towel, go grab a diaper, get the bottle. Like you don't really have a role, but role players on teams are just as important as the superstars, right? And then eventually, if you keep playing your role well, then you get to be the superstar, right? And then you the one rock the baby to sleep, because the baby only goes to sleep when you hold her a certain way, right? So you get those opportunities to shine, and I think you just continue to do the things that you need to do in order to be present and available, and then that just continues to put you in the right spot as they grow, right? Because when they leave that phase, as long as you're engaged in what's happening, you're ready for the next phase, right? Because you're going to continue to move when they move, if that makes sense. 100%.
I have a question for you real quick. I want to go back to what you touched on. You said you're like the water boy for a little while. Man, I'm telling you, man, it's like the most frustrating, humbling like thing, because you're like, I'm the man. I participated. I helped make this baby. But then I remember when I was my first daughter, hey, can you go get the formula ready? So I go and get the formula ready. I get put it in the bottle warmer, and then I warm it up to what I think is a good temperature. Try it on my arm and everything. Good temperature, cool. I go in. My mother-in-law was staying with us at the time. You know, people with their mother-in-laws are just what it is. Sometimes you have little things. I remember checking it, and it was good, and I know it was good. And I give it to them, and then she like, check. She saw that I made it. So let me check it one more time. I was like, man, come on, yo, I'm good. Like, I know what I'm doing. So
no, you're not the star.
Yeah, dude. So anyway, it's a humbling experience, but it just comes with the territory. It is what it is. And their masters what they do when it comes to raising these babies. So I'll give them that. But so the question I had for you was, first of all, your kids right now are how old?
8 and 10.
8 and 10.
11 tomorrow.
Exactly. 11 tomorrow, right? Yeah. So they're kids. So what what are some things that maybe they're going through now that they didn't go through when they were younger, and how have you had to adjust to that?
Well, my 10-year-old thinks she's about to be 20, so she's ready to be a teenager right now, and so that's new for me, right? Because they were like my little girls, right? And they're both daddy's girls, right? And so now my older one is like, all right, Dad. Like today, dropped her off at school for the first day. Drop me off down here. Oh, yo, wait a minute. Your friends think I'm cool. Like, why do you want, you don't want them to see me? Like, they like me. I'm the cool dad. She's like, no, you could drop me off down here. I'll just walk into the gate. And I'm like, all right. But yeah, I think it's really cool though, because like you said, as they grow, you grow, and it allows me to be a different type of dad. Like, now that she thinks she's a teenager, then we could talk about like music that we couldn't talk about before, because I wasn't talking about you know, Kids Bop, like. Right. But now she kind of likes Drake a little bit, and I'm like, oh, okay. So we we have little things that we could talk about now as they mature and as they get older, that I can relate to a little bit more as myself, right? As opposed to like just the dad. Right. When they were 6 and 8, or, you know, 4 and 6, is like, I'm trying to figure out what is the like cool kid thing. That's not me. Right. I'm just trying to fit into this mold of what a 6-year-old's dad does. Right. But as they get older, I get to have more of my personality. Right. We tell dad jokes. We do like the little circle game. I don't know if you ever did that one before, but I'm going to get you right now. What's that? Yeah, I got you. Right. So we play like the little games, and now they're starting to get older, and like now I get to have my own personality again. You know, which for years I was just trying to be the dad for them. So it's really cool if you allow it to happen, right? If you kind of allow yourself to embrace it, because there's a lot of other things that come with them wanting to be teenagers and getting to this middle school life that I don't want to have to deal with. Like at some point she's gonna start liking boys, and 100%. And then I'm gonna have to rough some little kid up. That stuff I'm not necessarily ready for, but I am enjoying how our relationship is growing.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Do that part for sure, especially with having girls. Like, it's just like, man, like one day, man. I forgot I think it's Den of Thieves, the movie with 50 Cent. Yeah. Do that scene. I just picture that being the scene. Like, if I don't look like that when I get to that stage, I did everything wrong. Yeah, I have my boys with me. I'm like, yeah, come over. They're supposed to go to prom tonight. I gotta get my toughest dudes over here. Show them we got back up. You know what I'm saying? Right. So anyways, but that's really important though, man. Growing with your kids throughout these different stages. And I think that's awesome that you said that, because I think some people lose themselves in just being a parent, but you still have to be Rod, though. I still have to be Layden. Like, you can't just be the father. Like, you have to have your soul personality, and because they want to connect with you. Like, yes, you're their parent. I'm not one of those parents to say you guys are friends, but you have to be a friend to them, and sometimes and have conversations with them and communicate. And that brings me into my next point. You posted a video just a couple of days ago, if not yesterday, or something really close by. You said, I make it a point, I'm intentional about having actual conversations with them when they come home from school, like not just like, how was school, you know? So can you touch on that for a second?
Yeah, I think it's really important that you show interest in the things that they're interested in. And when you say like, they know I'm not their friend, right? Like, and they don't even want me to be their friend, right? Sure. They like me as their dad, but we have to have a friendship type relationship on some topics. Right. In some instances, they need to be able to feel comfortable talking to me about things that are going on. So when I pick them up from school, it used to be like, hey, how was school today? And the automatic answer is, it was good. Okay, what does that mean? Like, what happened today? Right. So I make it a point to, like, if they say it was good, then that means they got 5 questions automatically. Right. But if they just come out and they tell me such and such happened, that somebody said this and this happened and my teacher did this and we did this in math, I'm like, all right, cool. Now I have an understanding of what your day was like. If there was something that gave you a struggle, then I can help you with it. If it was something that, you know, was really funny, we can all laugh about it. And then we get to enjoy the rest of the day, right? There's no more like questions about it because we all know, right? And so what I do is I'll ask them, I had a couple questions that I asked that are standard, right? And then the other ones just kind of come just randomly. What gave you any challenges today? Like, what was your biggest struggle today, right? Was it math? Some kid on playground, you lost the basketball game, right? What was your biggest struggle? What was the funniest thing that you heard today? Like, what was something that somebody said that was really funny? And then that gets a laugh, right? Because then they want to tell the joke the way somebody told the joke. Now we're all laughing in the car and we're having like that kind of relationship. And then, what did you learn today? Right. Those 3 are automatic. The other 2 are, you know, whatever. But what did you learn? Because I work with athletes who are younger, like high school, even college athletes. You ask them what they learned today. Crickets. Yeah, absolutely nothing. Right. I'm like, you were at school for 7 hours. You didn't learn anything? No. But my kids have to remember something they learned. And so that I think, right, and I don't know for sure, but I think it makes them pay attention a little bit more, at least for
Right.
one thing that because they know I'm going to ask them.
I was going to say, it's just like when you're in class and you know that the teacher might call on you, you're going to start paying attention. Like,
Yeah.
Or you see a kid that got called on where you know damn well he wasn't paying attention. Like, that's not going to be me. Now I'm paying attention for
Right.
real. Like, so yeah, 100%.
Right.
I like that.
So they stay thinking about it. When they get in the car, if they're not the first one to get asked or they don't spill the beans right away, then I know they're thinking about it and they're going to find something that they learned today.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. So, okay, right on. So, man, I'm just so excited to get to that stage because right now, I mean, you enjoy every stage. They're just different stages, right? So right now, I have my 3.5-year-old, then I have my 1-year-old, then I have my son on the way. And so they're really little, but I can't wait until they get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you know, like where you can have more in-depth conversations with them. I mean, I can show my personality now, but like, will they actually get it? Like I can make jokes with them, you know, that kind of thing. That's going to be so exciting, man. So that's awesome. So, what advice would you give to a dad? You know, maybe he's in the same stage with you right now. You know, kids the same age, whether they're 8, 9, 10, 11, around that age, and he just kind of feels like he doesn't really connect with them well. Like, what advice would you give them? Maybe what have you done for yourself?
Yeah, I'll go back to what I said about being interested in what they're interested in. I think sometimes and it happens to me too, where we lack connection. Like we'll go I try to make sure that we're intentional about having conversations, but sometimes we'll get in the car and it's just quiet.
Sure.
Because I'm naturally a quiet person, so I'm not thinking anything of it. But then I realize that she's behind me or one of them is behind me just sitting there. And I'm like, dang, she didn't even ask me a question. She didn't have nothing to say to me. Like we don't have there's no connection. We just rode for 45 minutes in silence. And so what I do now is when I notice those bits of silence, I don't do what like my wife does, my mom used to do, like, what are you thinking about? I'll just mention something that I know they're interested in, right? Like they both play softball, so we'll talk about something softball. Like I'll just bring it up, right? And then just watch the conversation go.
For sure.
And it may not be where I want it to go, right? It may not be something I want to talk about, but we have now that touch point of connection, right? And so when you're struggling to find that, and your kids, you feel like you're kind of growing apart. It's tough to grow apart from a kid, but
Sure.
You have to find the things where you guys connect, right? Like I never played softball, but I understand competition. I understand sports. And so when we have those conversations, I can make references and connections. And now she's learning about me as an athlete. And like we're having these conversations that we never had before. And that builds our relationship. It builds her confidence, her trust in me because, Dad knows, he knows about sports. Exactly. Right. Exactly. And now when she has a question that's related to that, now we have that connection because we built that one little touch point because I didn't let that moment go. Exactly.
I think that's crucial, man. Like, you know, meeting them where they're at is what I hear you saying right now. Like, it's like, you know, what are they into? And as soon as you bring that one topic up that the person loves, they just light up. They're like, oh man, that's crazy. Like, and even if they know that you don't know what you're talking about, they don't care because they're like, I want to talk about this. I know about it. So now then they kind of get the chance to be the teacher. Maybe like they kind of get to teach you some things like, what you do like this, or this is how it works. And case in point, when my dad was on last week, we had he talked about how when I would be at the skate park, there was times where he'd let me know, like, hey, are you at the skate park today? I want to come by and just watch you skate, right? There's those times, which is cool. But then there were some times where he would just pull up and he wouldn't tell me he was there. And that would be, you know, either I was teaching a student or I was just doing my thing and skating, whatever. And then I'd leave. And then when I was leaving, I get a picture of myself driving. And he was like sitting in the parking lot somewhere creeping. I'm like, that's crazy. But it was just cool. Like when they show interest in what you're doing, like, I want to watch. I want to learn. You know, that's like an instant connection because you're already meeting the person that where their heart is at. Like, I love skateboarding. They love softball. Now you're meeting them there and like, oh man, that's cool. Like they associate that with you. And that's an instant connection, man. So, another question I want to ask you is, you know, with all the conversations that you've been having, the podcasts you've been doing, the content you've been posting, you know, what are some things that you think dads are not doing the best right now? Like maybe some areas that they're lacking, they can step it up, and what you'd like to see change moving forward.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that are kind of the sacrificial lamb for their family. You know what I mean? Like they're going out and they're working and they're doing all these things to provide and protect and, you know, all the roles that we should be having, right? But it's almost to the detriment of themselves, right? So a lot of guys aren't taking any, I don't want to say self-care because I feel like that's kind of so like whatever, but aren't taking care of themselves, right? Whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, right? And we don't even talk about emotions because guys get emotional, and that's a whole nother conversation, right? But because they aren't doing that, then they aren't able to show up as their best selves for their family, right? Because if you're not physically fit, it's hard for you to show up consistently because you're tired, right? Or you're just not able to do it. Like your kid wants to go race or they want to go play at the park, and you're like, you know what I mean? I don't want to lose a race to my kid, and I'm in shape, so I can't imagine like if there's a higher percentage that you're gonna lose the race, like you definitely don't want to go outside,
get smoked.
Yeah, right. But things like that, guys are falling short in taking care of themselves as a person, taking care of themselves as a man first, in an effort to be the best father that they can be, right? But the reality is if you're not setting a good foundation in your manhood and as yourself as a person, it's really hard to be good in all those other areas.
Sure.
Right? Because you're kind of building that house on sand, right? All that other stuff is kind of falling away, and you're like, all right, man, I really want to be a great dad, but I can't go play with my kids. I'm so frustrated from work today that I can't stand hearing your voice go in the other room. Like all these other things start to happen that kind of chip away at what you really want to happen. They start to distract you from your intentions.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy. I literally, right before you came, we were filming some other episodes, some solo episodes, and that was the brunt of one of the episodes I was talking about is getting in better shape, because it's going to affect so many different things in a positive way. Obviously, what you think about yourself, but then also how your kids see you, how your spouse sees you, the energy you'll be able to, to have so you can give more to your kids, give more to your spouse. You'll be able to show up differently, be a better, a more effective leader, and all that stuff. And so it's crazy, man. There's so many people that are not, I should say, so many men that are not taking care of themselves in that way, and they don't even realize, they're leaving stuff on the table, man. Like if you just got in the gym, and worked at it, it's not going to happen right away necessarily, but, you can get some really fast results as far as how you feel and energy wise. That boost, that's crucial. Some of the best medicine, man. Some of the best medicine. So you obviously being a coach, how are some ways to get people motivated to even, care about this kind of thing? Because I know some guys are watching this. Now I know I'm going to speak for them, playing devil's advocate. They're going to hear this like, man, the same thing they're talking about, getting fit, getting in shape. I know I need to get the abs. I got the, the boot. But I get it. Like I got to get right. But it's still like we can't get through to them. Like if you are coaching somebody like that, what are some things that you can kind of tell them to kind of be like, hey, man, like you said earlier, perspective change. You know?
Right. Well, dealing with fathers specifically is one of the things that I like to say is like we feel this way and your kids feel this way, that you're their superhero. Like you're the superhero that they envision you to be. Like dad can do anything. He can pick me up. He's the strongest person in the world. He's the smartest person in the world. I want to ask him everything. I want to do everything with him. Have you ever, Marvel, DC, or otherwise, seen an out of shape superhero?
Nah.
It just doesn't happen, right? And so if that's who you are to your children, either you're telling them they're lying, right? That you're a lie, I'm not a superhero, or you're going to get in shape, right? It's one of those kind of like when I coach men in weight loss, it's like the come to Jesus moment. Like we got to get you in the mirror. Not for me, right? Day one of the program, go ahead and stand in front of the mirror and you look at who you are. Is that who you're happy with? Right. And just be honest. Like I know, and I hear it too. I always talking about getting in shape. Because it's true. Right. Like I'm telling you this because it's something that you need to do. Not because I'm shaming you or making you feel bad for where you are. But the reality is at the very least, if you enjoy being a father, being in shape allows you to do that better and longer. Facts. Right. Yep. Like you get to be a grandfather, barring any accidents. Right. But if you don't take care of yourself, you may not make it there. Right? You may not get to walk your daughter down the aisle, right? Or it's going to be a slow walk down the aisle, right? Or when you come down the aisle, people looking like, dang, her dad's still jacked. Yeah. Dang.
For real.
You know? And reality is people treat you differently when you're in shape.
For real.
The world looks at you differently, regardless of what you actually think. And you can list a bunch of people who are not in shape, who are doing really well and crushing it and all that. That's really cool. When you walk in a grocery store and you look like you're in shape, the person at the cash register, the old lady who's getting apples, everybody looks at you differently. They treat you differently.
For real.
And your family's the same way. They love you regardless, but they would rather you be healthy.
100%. Oh, I love it. I love it. I got another one, man. I got another one. That's another reel. I'm cutting that up, chopping it up. That's beautiful. I love it, man. This is awesome, man. So, honestly, man, that was like the brunts of like what I wanted to talk about today. But do you feel like we're leaving anything out when it comes to anything, when it comes to these dads watching this? If you have a message for them, if you have, something that you'd like to leave with them, it could be along the lines of talking about growing along with your kids, like a reminder for them, anything that you feel like we might be missing.
I don't know if we're missing anything, but I do want to make a point to let men know, right? Because we have to say men first, because we're fathers, and that may be how we announce ourselves to the world. Like I'm a father of two, right? But at the core of it, you're a man. And so if you aren't taking care of the man that's at the center of it all, then all the rest of it, as I say, just kind of falls away, right? So I don't think we left anything off the table, but I think the thing that needs to be on the table and constantly worked on, it's like a sculptor, it's like clay, right? You're going to continue to work on your manhood. As your children grow, there are going to be things that you need to shift and mold and change, but you still have to be working on who you are as a person, right? It's a never-ending journey, right? It's the infinite game, 100%. Right? Because you're in a quest to reach the next level. You reach the next level, and boom, you got to get right back to work, right? No. And the cool part about that, though, is if you've built up the muscle of personal development, when you have to do that next level, it doesn't feel so bad, right? Like when we're working out, we're adding weight, like per set, or we get to a point we're gonna add 5 pounds. 5 pounds doesn't feel that bad, right? And then we add 10 pounds. 10 pounds, at some point it does, right? And that's where you need to recover and rest and go back and take care of yourself. But it doesn't feel like the world is ending. Now, if you've never worked out before, right? And then I throw 5 pounds on there, I might kill you. Yeah. Like that might be the last time you work out, right? So it's just a matter of to continue to work on yourself, continue to build yourself up as a man and as a person, and then watch how your fatherhood grows, right? Watch how that gives you a better base to build on, right? You can do so much more when you build up the man that you are.
100%. I love it, man. Dude, this is an awesome conversation. Before I let you go, though, I want you got to let them know where they can find you on Instagram, on anything you're promoting, websites, anything. Where can they find you? What are you looking to promote right now?
Yeah. So easiest place to find me is on social media would be Instagram at 4FitFatherhood, the number 4FitFatherhood. That's where I'm most active. I'm on Twitter. I think I'm even on TikTok, but I'm rarely ever on there. Like I figured that I can get a message across if I just kind of stick to one lane, right? Like I can be more thorough if I do it that way. So that's probably the best way. If you need to email me or get like in direct contact with me other than DMs, because I get a bunch of them now. So you might get sent to the junk thing and it'll take a couple of days before I get to you. Email is at 4FitFatherhood, the same 4FitFatherhood at gmail.com. The easiest way to do it. Actually, I do have something that's coming up, and I've been kind of hinting at it a little bit. I wrote an ebook, and it's just like my last 10 years of fatherhood. Some of the things that I've found through conversations on podcasts, things that I've found through sourcing all these videos that actually you see as clips on my Instagram page, just things that I've learned from personal development, things that I'm trying to be better at as a person. And I took all those things and kind of put them together. And it's a roadmap for fathers, basically, right? It's a day one to where I am now. This is what I've learned. Right. This is what's helped me. I'm not perfect by any means, but these are the things that I draw from. So I put all that together into one book, like a daily checklist to kind of go along with it, some things to kind of think about as you go through your day. A morning routine, because I think routine is super, super important 100%. If you're going to be trying to improve yourself in any way. If you're just going after it haphazardly and just kind of trying different things, you're going to struggle longer than you need to. So I just put all that together in kind of like a bundle. And tomorrow, which is my daughter's birthday, I don't know if I should time this thing, but
by the time they see it, it'll be out.
Right, it'll be out already. But yeah, it's coming out on my daughter's birthday. It's the anniversary of me becoming a father. I figured that was the best day to put it out. So awesome. That'll be live. Yeah, by the time you guys see it.
I love it, man. I got to get my copy myself, man. That sounds like an awesome thing. Yeah. Rod, I got to thank you, man, right here, man to man, and just say thank you, because you hear so much about fathers the percentage of, what would the word I say, illegitimate homes where there's only the mom in there, the dad's not around. You hear that all the time. I know the stats. I talked about having my first episode for the Squire Program. The show was talking about some statistics that were like, they were just crazy. It's insane, the amount of dads that are not in the house. But I got to thank you, because you're a reminder that, we're chipping away at that. Like, it's not going to be like that forever. I think that, we're in the thick of things right now. There are a lot of guys that are not showing up in the way that they should be. However, I'm constantly reminded by the show and by the people I get to sit down and talk to, and your content, because you get to pull all kinds of clips of dads around the world. Like, there are dads showing up, man. And I love the fact that, this has been such a popular subject and a topic, and that dads are proud to be dads, and they're showing up for their kids. And so I want to say thank you for that, man. I love seeing, dads show up to be, there for the family. So shout out to you for that, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So cool.
You're welcome, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So anyways, guys, if this episode brought you any value, follow Rod on IG. Get that ebook for sure. By the time you guys see this, it's going to be out. It's going to be live. And so check him out there and get your copy, and share this video with a dad. If you thought about somebody when you watch this episode, share it with them. Drop your comments below with maybe new guests that you like to see on the show, or new topics, whatever the case is. Engage with us. Let's get these numbers up. So anyways, we appreciate you guys. See you next time.